This is College Football 26 with maxed out transfers. So we did this in a video where I was actively trying to go get transfers, but I'm not going to do any transfers this time. We're just going to do our 3-year sim. But you can see 30 transfers for a team, 100% transfer chance on both user and CPU. So we're going to see as many transfers as we possibly can in the game. I also want to show you something. If we're not going to be doing like a conference realignment video for the rest of the videos through College Football 26 that I'm going to do, we're going to do the 2026 lineup for the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. So I've moved all the teams over from the Mountain West and then Texas State from the Sun Belt, as well as UNLV and UTEP into the Mountain West for any videos that we're doing the rest of this cycle. We're rolling with Cal because I got this cool new Giants hat from my parents for Christmas, so we're going to roll with Cal in honor of that hat. We're going to sim through the first CFP, see how things are going, and we're going to pay extra close attention to the transfer portal in this video. But make sure that you like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before Valentine's Day, and let's go. All right, nothing too out of the ordinary at first glance here. Oklahoma, Oregon, Georgia towards the top, Miami, BYU, maybe Arizona State is a little higher than usual. SMU, nothing super out of, well, okay. Top 25 Rutgers is not generally something you see, and definitely not top 16 Northwestern. Okay, so there's a few things going on here. Okay, we didn't change anything besides the transfer portal. Cal is not doing well right now, but they did just pull down like a 4-star edge recruit, which is pretty good. Let's see what's going on with the ACC. I think it's just Miami. Duke towards the top. Clemson's up there. Okay, pretty good. Oh, Virginia Tech. Okay, so there's actually a couple teams that are a little bit surprising. All right, let's go to conference championships. So Cal finished 4-8. Not a good season. I haven't gotten fired yet. We'll see. Okay, so let's take a look here. So Rutgers is a top 10 team in the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State. That is massive. We've got Boise State as a probable G5 representative. Interesting things could happen if Kansas knocks out Arizona State here. Tulane is ready to take that spot. Or Navy, really, whoever wins that game, or Middle Tennessee State might even take that spot depending on how it all shakes out. We've got Oklahoma #1 in the country. Okay, so pretty interesting things going on here. I know I saw that Oregon is number 13. They just lost to Washington, so the Arizona State game has some intrigue by a couple teams here. The Boise State game also has some intrigue by a couple teams here because there's a couple teams ready to move up. So be interesting to see what happens. But Rutgers, Duke, SMU, I mean, really, Rutgers is the surprising one because Duke and SMU are good in this sim or in this game. But Rutgers, I've never seen make the playoffs. So they are in. Regardless of if they win the conference championship game, they are in. So Cade Klubnik, who was definitely in the Heisman race at the beginning of the season, or before the season started, and then as soon as the season started, he was out in real life. He wins the Heisman in our first season here. Cal, of course, doesn't make it to any bowl game, but let's take a look at our bracket here. It looks like Rutgers probably lost, but Rutgers does host Pitt in the first round. That's an old Big East matchup. Rutgers versus Pitt. That's the first round matchup. We got 2 G5 teams as well, as Boise State gets in as a 10 seed. Tulane gets in as the 12 seed. SMU and Duke are both first round buys. This is a very crazy lineup of teams for any season, let alone the first season of our sim here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the A's, 5 out of the A's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the ACC, 1 out of the Mountain West, or no, 1 out of the Pac-12, excuse me, we made the change. 1 out of the Pac-12, 1 out of the American, 2 out of the Big Ten, 3 out of the SEC, and the Big 12 missed out. So Arizona State must have lost against Kansas, and then Tulane jumps them. That's obviously what happened there, getting in as the final conference champion. Okay, Tulane gets the win over Ohio State in the first round. Last week, the last video we did last week, we specifically made it for G5 teams to get in. We engineered it for G5 teams to get in, and we had a couple successful G5 getting in. But we only had one win the entire time, and it was by Boise State in the first season. Tulane gets the win over Ohio State in our first season here, when it's definitely not engineered for G5 to get in. So that is crazy. Pitt knocks off Rutgers. The Destiny run loses out there, but Pitt in the first season is still pretty surprising. Georgia gets the win over SMU by 1, and then Boise State gets smacked by Florida in the first round. But Tulane against Duke in the Rose Bowl is very interesting. It's happening, folks. This is the farthest we've seen a G5 team make it in any video we've done. Tulane just beat Duke by 20 to be not just a G5 team, not just the 19th team in the country, but the number one, they've won by they won 2 straight games. I'm fucking losing it. They won 2 straight games. They're taking on the number 1 team in the country in the Peach Bowl with a chance to go to the national championship. Georgia, the number 11 team. So the 11 and 12 seeds are both in the semifinal against the 1 and 2 respectively. Georgia won by 2. Clemson smacked Florida. So Boise State really didn't have a chance this entire time. But Clemson, Georgia is not that crazy, but Georgia's the number 11 seed. And then Oklahoma, Tulane is absolutely crazy to be in the semifinal. We could see Tulane in the national championship game in the first season. Let's go! Tulane in the national championship game against Clemson. Holy shit. Could they win a G5 national championship? I said that there was going to be a G5 national championship at some point in our videos before the next cycle. Could we get it before the end of the year? Could we get it before Christmas? Tulane wins by 3 against Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl. Clemson beats Georgia by 1. Clemson does have the Heisman Trophy winner on their team, but Tulane could win the national championship in the first year of our sim with nothing changed. The only thing that's changed is transfers, and we're not even to the transfer portal. What's happening? Ugh. God damn it. All right. Well, Clemson emphatically says that they are the national champion, 45-7 over Tulane. Clemson takes the lead. ACC is in the lead for best conference, but the American is number 2 for best conference because Tulane just won 3 straight playoff games to get to the national championship game as the 19th team in the country. That is an amazing start to this video. Let's get to the transfer portal. All right, so I'm not sure how different it is from season to season, but Colin Simmons almost always in the transfer portal after the first year. Hardy, I don't know how common he is to be in the transfer portal, but it seems like we have a couple more running backs than usual, a couple more 5-stars than usual as well. It's usually just Simmons is the 5-star. Seems like we have some more 5-stars. Kewan Lacey's in there as well. Mayava, Dampier's in there generally. Marcel Reed is sometimes in there, but Mayava is probably more outside of the realm of generality, I should say, or I don't know, often happening. Ty Simpson in there. Ponch is in there. Cam Coleman is in there. Corey Coleman is the Browns receiver, right? Okay, so it seems like there are a lot more players. Rutgers finishes 10th. They have a halfback in there as well, Antoine Raymond. So, okay, so there's quite a bit in there. Generally, these quarterbacks are pretty common, but this seems like there's just a lot more players in there than usual. So, Gunnar Stockton's in there, Rocco Becht. All right, so we're going to have a lot of turnover here. I want to kind of see if Tulane, what's the best way to do this? Let's do this, and then if Tulane had a bunch of players transfer out, Utah had a bunch, USC had a bunch. Yeah, okay, so Tulane had Javen Gordon, so they had a couple 4-stars transfer out. So that's probably a good amount of the top of their team that's transferring out. So interesting to see. All right, let's sim through the end of the transfer portal and see where players went. All right, first, the top transfer classes. Nothing super surprising here. Well, Rutgers is number 13. They pulled in 11 3-stars. Let's see what the total number is. 19. Okay, so kind of the best. Oh, Boston College brought in 18 3-stars. How many 5-stars do we have any? Okay. They all went to different teams. Tulane got the number 1 recruit in the transfer portal. Got Simmons to their... Okay, so Tulane might be here to stay. Okay, that's the next step. Let's go to the transfer portal and see where the top players ended up going in the transfer portal. Okay, so Simmons goes to Tulane. Hardy goes to Tennessee. Brown goes to Oregon, which is interesting. They're pretty stacked at running back. Seaton goes to Duke. Okay. Kewan Lacey goes to BYU. Unsigned for whatever reason. Why does it happen this way? Mayava goes to Oregon. This is probably going to be a very good season for Oregon. Dampierre, Marcel Reed goes to SMU. So they get 2 of the top 10 players in the transfer portal going to Tulane. Tulane might be a force this video. Ty Simpson goes to Georgia. Coleman goes to defending national champion Clemson. Abney goes to Texas Tech. So basically a trade. Lalulu and Mayava get traded between USC and Oregon. Antoine Raymond goes to, okay. So a couple left on the board. Fafita goes to Boise State. Okay. That is some good information there. Okay. So we're going to have to keep an eye on Tulane throughout this entire video because they might very well be the power in this video. Let's go to the first CFP. All right, Cal's like 5-4 this year, but there is some interesting things going on. So Virginia Tech is in the top 10. Tulane is number 15 in the country. Let's see who they ended up losing. They lost to Duke in an early season matchup on the road. Other than that, they've got a G5 win against Kansas State. They've got a pretty clear path to win out and make it back to the CFP after making it to the national championship game last season. So very interesting to see there. Duke and Pitt are near the top again. Indiana, who wasn't there, is there this year. Arizona State, who got kind of knocked out by Kansas last year and allowed Tulane to get in, is right next to Tulane. That's a storyline to keep an eye on. Northwestern, who was good last year, is towards the top again. Clemson, our defending national champion, has some work to do to get back in there. Boise State, who is our other G5 representative, has some work to do to get back in there as well. LSU was our number 1 transfer portal team. They haven't been doing anything. Oh, no, they're number 23. Okay, so not super great. It was Georgia, I believe, was the number 2 transfer portal team. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it was another top-level team. So, top-level SEC team. So, interesting to see. Ohio State was the team that lost to Tulane in the first round last season. So, we'll see how this all shakes out. But Tulane is still towards the top. Let's go to conference championships. Okay, Cal should be in a bowl game after going 6-6 this season. We have Tulane and North Texas, who jumped up towards the end of the season in the American Championship. Might be a bad thing for Tulane there. We have Oregon and Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship game. James Madison's a ranked G5 team. Boise State is also a top 15 G5 team. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So Boise State needs some help here, probably in the form of North Carolina getting the win over Duke, which is Tobacco Road ACC championship game. Oh, this hat kind of does get fucked up by the grease screen. Oh, well, whatever. I'm not going to change my hat. I like this hat. 1 versus 2 in the SEC. So we probably, if for Boise State or North Texas to make it in, if there's a loss by Tulane, North Carolina needs to beat Duke to potentially keep the ACC out. The Big 12 missed out last season. They're in with Texas Tech for sure. Arizona State losing might make some more room for maybe Boise State to jump up as a non-G5 team. Tulane should probably... Tulane has to win to be in. So there's definitely interesting things going on here, but we will get one of Tulane, North Texas, or Boise State as the G5 representative. Hopefully Tulane, because they've shown that they can win games. So Austin Simmons somehow wins his job back at Ole Miss, because we didn't see Trinidad Chambliss transfer out. He wins his job back at Ole Miss and wins the Heisman Trophy. Cal should be in a bowl game here. They're going to face off against Air Force in the Bucked Up LA Bowl, which this is unrealistic because the Bucked Up LA Bowl is gone after the last time it was played this season, and it definitely isn't hosted by Gronk anymore, which, ugh. So this is unrealistic, but okay. We're in the LA Bowl. Awesome. Against 9-4 Air Force. All right. Who made it in? Okay, so Tulane did make it in. North Carolina did get the win over Duke, but they both make it into the playoff, and Boise State or North Texas did not make it in. We get a rematch of last year's first-round matchup against between Tulane and Ohio State, with the winner taking on Texas Tech. That's interesting. North Carolina makes it in for the first time. Texas in for the first time. Pitt, who beat Rutgers last season gets another Big Ten opponent, this time the other side of the country, UCLA against Pitt, with a winner taking on number 1 Georgia. Oregon, who was one of the best teams in the transfer portal, is going to take on Duke, who also got a 5-star in the transfer portal, and Oklahoma, who lost to Tulane last year after being the number 1 seed in the playoff. And just so you know, Boise State probably would have been in if it wasn't for losing to Oregon State in the Pac-12 championship game. So Boise State is actually the reason we didn't get 2 straight G5 teams in 2 G5 teams in 2 straight seasons. We won the LA Bowl. All right. Got the home field advantage and won the LA Bowl over Air Force. Okay, but this is not a video about Cal. It's a video about Tulane now. So we see UCLA gets the win. Come on, get me to the fucking bracket. Okay. Ohio State gets their revenge by 28 over Tulane this time. They had a home game last year. I mean, it's crazy. Tulane went into, the Horseshoe and beat Ohio State, and then they went on and beat the number 1 team in the country, and then they went on and made it to the national championship game. That is one of the most improbable runs I've seen, and they made it back this year. I mean, incredible work by Tulane in this video. Texas gets the win over North Carolina, who shouldn't have been in there. Probably should have been Boise State, but they fucked it up. So they'll take on Ole Miss and Heisman Trophy winner Austin Simmons. UCLA gets the win over Pitt. They will take on Georgia. One thing I did not realize is that Clemson, our defending national champion with the Heisman winner, is not in this season. Georgia and UCLA will take each other on in the Orange Bowl. Ohio State and Texas Tech will go head-to-head in the Fiesta Bowl, and then Duke and Oregon will face off in the Peach Bowl. One thing that is very realistic about this video is we've had Oklahoma in for 2 straight seasons, and they still don't have a college football playoff victory, which, as we saw this weekend, is still the truth. Oklahoma can make it to the college football playoff, but they cannot win there. Okay, so we get a Texas-Georgia matchup in the Sugar Bowl. Texas gets past Ole Miss by 8. UCLA just didn't have enough to catch up with Georgia. Georgia and Texas will face off in an all-SEC matchup. We almost had an all-Big Ten matchup at the bottom. Ohio State ends up losing by Texas Tech by 7. They will take on Oregon in the Rose Bowl after Oregon beat Duke by 5. This is a real-life Orange Bowl matchup that we have coming up at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on January 1st, New Year's Day. I will be tuned in, drinking coffee and putting a little whiskey in my coffee too, because I'm feeling nervous about that game. All right, we don't get the All-Texas Bowl in the national championship. It's Oregon, Texas in Vegas. Texas wins by 2 tuds against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Oregon wins by a tud and a 2-point conversion in the Rose Bowl. They will face off for our second national championship. And Texas gets the second national championship. So it's Clemson in year 1, Texas in year 2. The ACC was the leader in the clubhouse for best conference. I think it maybe goes to the SEC now because they had a team that made it to the semifinal last season, I want to say. The Big 12 missed out. The Big 10 has been suspect. So, let's call it a tie with the SEC and the ACC going into the final season. But the real question is, can Tulane get another win? But let's go to transfer portal and see how things shake out. All right, at the top, we've got 3 top-level quarterbacks that are hitting. 4 top-level quarterbacks, really. Well, we don't really know about Sagapolatelli. I don't think he's big. Well, they did pretty well last year at Cal. Anyway, Julian Lewis hits the portal. Bryce Underwood hits the portal. Deuce Knight hits the portal. We've got 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks in the top 10 in the portal this year. Davison hits the portal. Ooh, it's a running away. The people are running away from Oregon after losing. Jamari Johnson hits the portal. De'Ara Hill hits the portal. We got Damon Williams in the portal, who was apparently in the portal last season, but wasn't one of the top quarterbacks that we saw. So he hits the portal. He, after playing for Arizona State, missing the college football playoff for the second straight season. So we got a ton of players in the portal this year. A ton of players that are transferring like year after year. Not as many, only 1 5-star this year, though. We only have Julian Lewis as the 5-star. We had 4 5-stars last season. So let's see how it shakes out at the end. Okay, so some familiar names from our top transfer class last season, but we have some new ones. So North Carolina, who kind of made a late season run to the college football playoff, ended up beating Duke in the ACC championship game. They have a top 10 transfer portal, 13 3 stars. We have Duke, who's up there as well, who's been a pretty good team, made the college football playoff both of their first 2 seasons in this sim. But Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, all missing college football playoff last season. LSU, USC, all missing college football playoff last season. They made some big moves in the portal. Oregon, who was a runner-up in the national championship game last season, ends up making some big moves after they lost a few of their players in the portal. Texas, who ended up winning, also made some big moves. Cincinnati's up there. Tulane was not in the top, so maybe Tulane's not going to be able to make a run this season. Ooh, they're quite a ways down here. Okay, let's see where the top players ended up going. Okay, so Julian Lewis goes to UCLA, who won a college football playoff game last season. That's a big get. Bryce Underwood goes to Pitt, which is a big get. Pitt has been in 2 straight CFPs. Deuce Knight goes to Duke, like we talked about, 2 straight CFPs. Andrew Marsh goes to defending national champion. Sagapolatelli, I don't know. I would have to hear someone say his name. I didn't watch any Cal games this year. I know he went to Oregon and then ran away as soon as he saw Dante Moore show up. But he goes to Indiana. Indiana has been pretty good. The Ducks reworked their offensive line and got some defensive players. Backmeyer goes to Stanford. Okay. Ducks get a couple of the top 10. Davison goes to Missouri. Bad choice, Davison. I don't really want to see where these Duck guys ended up going. Jamari Johnson to UCLA. So UCLA should be pretty good. And De'Aaron Hill goes to Washington. Traitor. Where'd Devon Williams go? OU. Okay. Let's go to the first CFP of our final season. See if Tulane can keep it going. And then a couple of the other teams, Pitt, Duke, UCLA, that we saw get some big transfers that are not necessarily traditional big names. Let's see if they can keep it up in this final season. Cal is just not good. They're always 4 losses by the time we get to the first CFP. Just not good. Okay, so Duke is the number 1 team in the country. They're keeping it going. Tulane is number 10 in the country. Are we going to get 3 straight CFPs out of Tulane? We got North Texas climbing up here at the end as well. We didn't see Mestamaker leave the program, so they very well could be climbing up. Arkansas State's in the top 25 in the first CFP. This is going well. Cincinnati, who we saw do a little bit of work in the portal, they're climbing up here, undefeated so far in the Big 12. Collision course with Utah, it looks like, at the end of the season. Oregon still keeping up there. Texas was our defending national champion, and Texas and Clemson, our 2 national champions so far, are not in the top 25. So it's up for grabs. Best team in the video so far. Clemson is in the lead because they have a Heisman and the national championship, but we'll see what happens here. Duke, Oregon, Georgia, Pitt, Tulane are all looking to get to their 3rd straight CFP. Indiana, Alabama, Washington, LSU are all looking for their first one. Utah, Cincinnati are all looking for their first one. But it comes down to Tulane and Duke right now is what we're really looking at. Another 6-6 season for Cal. But Tulane might not be able to make this champion or the 3rd straight CFP because North Texas is a top 10 team with only 1 loss so far this season. So this Tulane wins, we could see 2 from the same G5 conference, 2 out of the American. We have a top 25 matchup between Southern Miss and Arkansas State as well. San Jose State has found their way into the top 25 in the Mountain West Championship. Cincinnati and Utah are fighting for their first playoff spot. It's really coming down to it here. And then Duke is going to be in their 3rd straight one. Don't forget that FIU is number 17 in the country and could be waiting to snap if something crazy happens. There's probably not a path for FIU, but they are top 25 in the country. We have a very good showing for the G5 here in the final season. Bryce Underwood, in his first season at Pitt, wins the Heisman Trophy. It's often that it's like Eli Stowers, I think is his name, that wins the 3rd season for Pitt. So it's not uncommon for Pitt to win a Heisman Trophy in their 3rd season, which is kind of interesting if you ask me. Cal goes to the Pop-Tarts Bowl this time, a high-end bowl against BYU, and I think they got into this because Notre Dame decided they weren't going to play. I don't know exactly the lore behind why Cal's in this game, but I think I heard that it was because Notre Dame said they didn't want to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl in 2027. Okay, who got in? Who got into the CFP? Okay. North Texas gets in. They win the American Championship. They'll take on Cincinnati. A good chance that we could get another G5 win. We've had 3 G5 wins in the playoffs so far with that Tulane run. Thank you, Tulane, for a great video. You couldn't quite do the 3 straight seasons for a G5 team, but I believe in North Texas getting a couple wins here. Duke, on the other hand, has made it to the 3rd straight. Can they make the best team in the video if they win the national championship this year? Oregon also has a shot at best team in the video. Georgia has a shot at the best team in the video. Does anybody else in here? No, nobody else. Those are the 3 teams that really have a shot at best team in the video if they win. If not, it probably goes to Clemson because they got the national championship with the Heisman. Miami, Indiana in the first round. Winner takes on Duke. Utah, Notre Dame. Winner takes on Oregon. Alabama, Florida. Winner takes on Ole Miss. And then Cincinnati, North Texas, our most important game in the first round. Winner takes on Georgia. Cal lost to BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, but who cares? North Texas gets the win in the first round. That's 4 G5 wins in the playoff. 2 different seasons in which the G5 gets a win in the playoff. 2 different teams that get a G5 win in the playoffs. 3 straight seasons in which we got G5 teams. 3 different teams that make it in. Boise State, Tulane, and North Texas. 2 different conferences, North with the American and the Pac-12. Very, very good showing from the G5 here. North Texas will take on Georgia in the second round in the Sugar Bowl. Tough matchup there, but they get the win in the first round. Florida gets another win in the CFP. They won in the first season. They won in the last season. They will take on Ole Miss in another all-SEC matchup in the Peach Bowl. Notre Dame gets past Utah in their first showing. Notre Dame will take on Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and then an all-ACC matchup at the top, Duke versus Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. They put up 42 on Georgia, but they just couldn't get past Georgia in not essentially home game, but a very close to home game in New Orleans. North Texas falls to Georgia 42-52. What a great video for the G5. Before we finish, I want to say that the thought process that the transfer portal is killing the G5, maybe that's not so true in CFB 26. Obviously, this isn't reality, but in CFB 26, they did better with a more lively transfer portal, and Tulane was one of the best teams in the transfer portal in the first season that we did it. Oregon gets the win over Notre Dame. They will take on Duke in a game for probably team of the video. Well, one of these teams has a chance to get team of the video here. Georgia's the other one that's in the running. They're in the world's largest cocktail party against Florida at the bottom of the bracket there. Florida, I guess, did get a win in the first CFP. Neither Clemson or Texas made multiple CFPs. How much does a Heisman Trophy winner outweigh a win? We'll see if we have to have that conversation, but those are the teams that have a chance at national champion and best team in the video. Okay, so Florida and Oregon are in the national championship. If Oregon wins, they're the best team in the video. If Florida wins, the SEC is the best conference in the video. They're probably the best conference in the video even if they don't win. But if Florida wins, we'll have to have a real conversation about Clemson or Florida as the best team. So Florida gets the win there. Now, does a national championship and 1 playoff win in a previous season, 2 playoff appearances, outweigh the best season of the video where Clemson won a Heisman and won the national championship? That's the question. I think we're going to have Clemson as the best team, the SEC as the best conference in the video, Tulane as the most entertaining team by far, and that's it.